Speaker, for as long as I've been involved in politics, the word moderate or centrist have been thrown around as an insult in some circles of the Liberal Party. The argument that only by lurching further to the right can you truly differentiate from Labor and be electorally relevant. Locally in Ryde, we have avoided that debate by staying true to our values and never deviating from a focus on delivery. But the recent federal election told a story that needs to be heard, both locally and nationally. While in substance, both major parties in the federal election left a lot to be desired, when it came to style, the contrast could not have been clearer. While other parties sought to project kindness, my party was too often perceived as mean-spirited and nasty, demonising those who advocate for practical solutions, compassion and respect, and a politics grounded in community was always destined to fail. It reflected a worldview disconnected from the lives of everyday Australians and led us to become a party that too often talked about voters rather than listened to their needs. Herein lies an opportunity for the New South Wales Liberals to reshape the party's future and ensure it once again becomes a credible alternative, where understanding and supporting the aspirations and experiences of people are our key focus. The New South Wales Liberals have a proud history of looking and thinking differently. We're a party room that is young, dynamic, and has a track record of delivery. We understand that working young professionals and diverse communities don't want political theatre. They want affordable housing, modern infrastructure, practical solutions on climate and energy, and a government that helps them to get ahead. Federally, the party should have been reconciling its traditional belief in markets and individual enterprise with an equally strong commitment to access to education, employment, and social support. Instead, it abandoned these values entirely and adopted as its centrepiece what can only be described as a socialist nuclear plan, one that would have nationalised the energy grid and saddled an entire generation of young Australians with the debt. By entrenching this debate in a divisive culture war, the Liberals lost the political licence to accomplish real change. Yet change is still happening, but under a federal and state Labor governments who wax lyrical about renewable energy while approving and reopening coal-fired power stations. The energy debate is just one example of this cycle that undermines trust in major parties of politics. It is clearly a poor result for the coalition, but hardly a resounding endorsement of Labor, who positioned themselves as the lesser evil rather than the trusted stewards of our future. The rise in support for minor parties reflects a broader loss of faith in the honesty and integrity of the major parties. But there is hope for those in the centre to start rebuilding that trust by engaging in honest policy discussions that are focused forwards. Federally, this should start with indexing income tax to ensure people retain their purchasing power in a cost of living crisis. And in New South Wales, it should involve honest discussions about the tax levers we do control and the folly of housing policies that only subsidise demand when it is just as important to incentivise supply. Likewise, we should be looking at how technology can lift the standard and efficiency of public services, support the work-life balance of parents with modern 9-to-5 after-school options, and by building sustainable cities, supported by infrastructure that keep pace with housing growth and community needs. These aren't fringe concerns. They are front of mind in people's lives. When we don't prioritise them, we lose touch with the very people we're supposed to represent. It's about earning the right to lead, not waiting to be called upon. And to those who say this approach is just like Labor, I say, look in the mirror. The irony is hard to miss. For all the commentary about rejecting identity politics, it is those commentators who seem most obsessed with identity labels, not personal identity, but ideological and tribal identity. Centrist Liberal values, grounded in personal responsibility, fairness, enterprise and respect, aren't a departure from our tradition. They're its most vivid expression. My community in Ryde is one of the most diverse in the country and wants action on the cost of living and housing affordability. They want thoughtful investment in infrastructure and a government that helps them live well, work hard and to raise a family. These are mainstream Australian priorities. They must become our priorities. If saying so makes me a target for those clinging to the political tropes of another era, so be it. Because what happened at the election wasn't a fluke, it wasn't the media, and it wasn't preference deals. It was a message that we need to modernise and not polarise. The centre is a place of strength, and it's where our future lies if we are willing to claim it.